will be Kieran Donahue.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for sponsoring this. My name is Kieran Donahue. It's probably the hardest name outside the Leafs to pronounce up here tonight. But currently, I'm the Chief Deputy for the Canyon County Sheriff's Office, and want to take a moment to acknowledge the presence of our current Sheriff, Chris Smith, here in the crowd tonight, and a vast majority of officers, both men and women, here to support this forum. Law enforcement in Canyon County is very complex. We have a lot of issues. We have a lot of things that we have to deal with that are influenced by outside of our control, specifically methamphetamine trade by Mexican cartels that bring our dope in from Mexico right into Canyon County. We are a distribution point, which causes us great challenges on a variety of levels. As an officer with Canyon County, I've been with them 8.5 years now under the tutelage of Sheriff Smith and others. I have risen through the ranks as a deputy, a detention officer, a detention deputy. Now I am the chief deputy. In that time, I spent considerable years undercover and working the streets of our county, and not just this county, but adjoining counties, as a member of the FBI Violent Crime and Gang Task Force with the FBI. Those resources that the FBI and the ATF bring to this county are absolutely unmeasurable in our fight against gangs, violent criminals, and drug cartels who wish to influence the lives of each and every one of you and take away socially and economically the lifestyle that you've come to expect. It's an incredibly demanding effort that we put out there. Without the support of those federal agencies and the inter cooperation by all law enforcement, both state, local, state, and federal, we could not be sitting here today in the safety that we enjoy. If you look back in 2004, we had nearly 200 shootings in a 6-month period in Canyon County alone. 200. We're down to a few each year. That's because the efforts that multi-agencies are putting out to put an end to this kind of activity. I've been at the forefront of that race for a lot of years. Now I've moved into the administrative cycle. I understand what it takes to be an administrator at this level. I understand what the needs of our communities are. I've been a member of the Critical Incident Task Force. I've been a crisis negotiator. I've been an incident commander when we have situations that sometimes you people don't have to know about in terms of bad things happening in our streets. We're there each and every day, and now I have an opportunity to lead our 300-plus personnel in our efforts to keep our public safe. I appreciate you coming, and I appreciate you taking a look at what we have to offer. I'm Kieran Donahue, and I appreciate you being here.
Okay, and Robert Muse.
I'd like to thank everybody here for being at this forum. I'm going to start off with a little personal history. I've been married to my loving wife of 34 years, 2 sons, daughter-in-law, grandsons, and other families that live here in Canyon County. I'm currently a business owner. I'm also a state licensed bail bond agent and fugitive recovery agent. I'm also an appointed officer of the court unsupervised. I have no civil or criminal complaints since I've been in the criminal justice industry as a private individual. I also am finishing up my PhD, a doctorate in public administration. I hold 2 master's degrees, one in public safety with national critical preparedness. I hold a graduate degree in human social services that specializes in mental health and addictions. I also hold a degree, Bachelor of Science in criminal justice. I have 4 specialty Bachelor of Science certifications from courts to other types of investigative fields. I'm also the private Director of Safety and Security at a facility in Caldwell. I have 12 uniformed, fully armed private individuals conducting what we call private police on private property. We deal with the Hispanic community. Components of that community range from the Mexican Mafia to the North and South Side gangs. We enforce all the civil liberties and private property rights that are afforded to the owner of that property. We have very little or no incident. Caldwell Police has never had to engage or respond to any critical incident on property. At the same time, I've handled fugitive recovery work for the last 7 years from North Carolina to Los Angeles, again with no civil or criminal complaint. That involves a lot of knowledge about constitutional authority, the ability to know what those civil rights are when you're in each different state and jurisdiction, the ability to also understand what the private property rights are when you're entering somebody's residence or business property or any other type of property. I'm also been honorably discharged from the United States Air Force, where I served as a security police officer. That was with the Strategic Air Command. My job was to secure all the nuclear weapons of mass destruction that involved first launch vehicles, everything from missiles to bombers. I served as a fire team leader, squad leader, went to several different types of academies, air-based ground defense academies, Camp Bullis, or the 101st Airborne Trains. I've been at Lackland, trained at the Security Police also there. I'm also a member of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. Those sheriffs that are trying to restore our Constitution are Sheriff Mack and Sheriff Joe Apaya. Thank you for your time and vote for Robert Muse for Canyon County Sheriff.
Okay, we're going to take down the sheriff's candidates. As you lie in bed in the confines of Canyon County, what keeps you awake at night and why? And Robert, we'll start with you, and you have 3 minutes. But you don't have to take all that time if you don't want to. And the mic is right there. Be sure you pull it in your direction.
I lay in bed and I ask, how much experience do you need to have to be a patriot in this country? What does your citizen status, your citizenship mean to you while you lay in bed and watch our country debt grow $16 million plus? What do you have for your future generation of children, grandchildren? What am I going to leave behind if I sit to the side and be quiet and not challenge this political process? The county sheriff is America's last hope, bar none. That is it. When we lose the county sheriff to whatever form of government that comes after this republic, we will no longer be the United States of America. The founders of America warned us that we could lose more freedoms from gradual encroachments by those in authority than by the sudden usurpation from any foreign government or enemy. This is certainly truer today than it ever has been with the 16 trillion in national debt. It appears we've lost our way. The battle in America is now for our country's soul and the last bastion of hope for freedom and liberty. Let us not be deceived from the political whining for universal health care, gun control, equality through governmental redistribution of wealth, and removal of religious beliefs and expressions from our public institutions that are being removed by despotism. When all government is drawn to Washington as the center of all power, it will render powerless the checks and balances provided and will continue to be an oppressive government. And that's what Thomas Jefferson warned us about. I ask every citizen, each police officer, every peace officer, and especially every sheriff in America, that all of us come to the understanding that the sheriff has the authority, power, and duty to end any oppressive government, whether it's federal, state, county, or city. My impact thus is inescapable. The county sheriff is our nation's first and last line of defense for the preservation and return to our fundamental and individual liberty. As sheriff, I would be the people's last hope. When you connect an astounding truth, we all reconnect to freedom. This position is what makes the position of Canyon County Sheriff such a high and noble office. Thank you.
Okay, Durham?
You know, it's a great question, and it's multifaceted. What keeps me awake at night is worrying about our children and our children's children, and you know what they face from the criminal element here in not just Canyon County, but I think we have to look both to Treasure Valley, the state of Idaho, and beyond. We are inundated in an epidemic of methamphetamine use and sales it's not a small issue, and it's not one that we'll solve overnight. It's one we've been fighting for a long time, and we are not winning the war. That is a huge concern, both from a social and economic standpoint, insurance, medical, and just the social degradation of our children, our schools, etc. I worry about the sexual offenders that we have seen a dramatic increase here in both in just Canyon County and the state of Idaho. With growth of our communities and our county and our cities, we're going to have a growth of criminal element. You can't get away from it. No culture in existence ever has. So we're not immune to that. I worry about the epidemic of domestic violence that we see, that we know now by statistics 1 in 4 women will be a victim of domestic violence by a domestic partner in their lifetime, that 1 in 7 men will be a victim of domestic violence in their lifetime, that on average 3 women a day are killed in this country by their domestic partner. Think about those statistics. That's what keeps me up at night, and how I will keep the resources available to my sheriff's officers and support staff at 300 where we need probably 350. We're down 30 positions at our sheriff's office today that we cannot fill to keep the public safe. It becomes a public safety issue when we don't have the resources and assets to address the concerns that the criminal element face upon not just you, the citizens, but your children and your businesses. Property, theft, burglary, based on the underlying fact that feeding the methamphetamine trade, that people have to have their drug. It's a must. It's not an option. Okay, it's not an option. They got to have it. So we see an increase in spike in property theft and burglary. We see an increase in aggravated battery. We see an increase in homicide. These are very real issues, and those are the things that keep me up at night, that wonder how we're going to address this with the shrinking economy that we have. Hopefully we're on the rebound. I pray that we are. I think that we are. But there's a lot of people up behind me that know a little bit more about that than I do. I'm out here to enforce the laws that are on the books. And so those are my concerns and how we're going to address them.